I've been sitting here for a good little minute trying to, figure out how to talk about this subject. Mainly because we brought it up before, just about how VTubing, at least at times, have people coming through, kind of doing what they really want to do to get to where they want to be, using all kinds of underhanded tactics, being deceitful, basically the Orochimaru snake-like tactics. Like, it basically, it never ends. And with the whole Cinder situation, it basically confirms again, Orochimaru has been sneaking around here like that. He's been on that type of time. He's trying to find Sasuke's body and we're all getting cooked out here. That's essentially what this ends up happening, right? I am not going to talk about the whole entire situation about, what's going on with Cinder and all the details and things like that. I will, obviously have this whole video up because that's kind of the reason I'm talking about it. But I kind of wanted to look at VTubing as a whole yet again. I know I did this before, and I guess slightly famously, Rima has saw that video and reacted to that, which, if she's reacting to this one, I highly doubt it, but if she does, hello Rima, can I please touch your booba? Thank you very much. But anyway, this is one of those situations where I'm immediately like, you are a big creator, you have such a big influence into what you want to do, all the money in the world essentially, things that people are trying to scratch and claw their way to get to. Why would you ruin that for yourself, right? Now granted, again, I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, you need to be perfection, absolutely just the peak of all peakness, Mr. Perfect type levels of being perfection, but let's just be real, no one's going to be that. There is really not a single person that's gonna be that, That's just raps. GG's. Ultimately, the only time you're gonna see something like that, unless Jesus come down himself and just, come through. But I highly doubt that's gonna be the case, especially for something as meaningless as this. But when it comes down to it, though, people are allowed to make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes. Your favorite VTuber is gonna make mistakes. That's perfectly fine. I don't think anybody should be mad at that. It does matter when it comes down to the level of what the mistake was, obviously. But at the very same time, it's not going to be, a perfect run for everybody to come through. I do think there is times where the voice of public opinion can definitely be ass. And I don't necessarily think it's nearly as bad as people make it out to be for certain instances. But there is a lot of instances where, it makes sense for people to kind of shit on that person. I remember seeing a comment, at least at one point in time, I don't even remember where, but I remember seeing something where it was like, oh, female VTubers, yeah, they're better, they're the best kind of people, mainly because, females, they don't necessarily get themselves into weird situations and cause a lot of damage like a lot of these guy influencers and stuff like that. And I'm just like, is that true? Is that verifiably true? Like, is that how you really feel? Because I'm gonna be honest, that's definitely not the case. Not even with the Cinder situation, just with other stuff that has happened within the, VTubing space as a whole, and especially the top level of it too. And it just like, you can't be serious. Like, there has been multiple times where we have seen people go after each other's throats or have hella big disagreements with each other in the worst possible ways. And it's just like, yeah, this isn't great. Right? So it doesn't really matter if you're female or male or whatever you are. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You're pretty much gonna be human, and if you're a human, you're gonna, see some nonsense that you really don't feel like dealing with, honestly, and that's just ultimately how it is. And when it comes down to the online space, it's possibly the worst. It possibly is, mainly because you're putting basically a lot of what you should hide behind closed doors out in the public, which I don't understand why people just do that in the first damn place. Like, if I'm being honest, I don't understand that. You could just kind of deal with shit behind closed doors and just be kind of the way it is. But lots of people don't do that. I fail to understand why, and it's a bit weird if I'm being honest. It genuinely just is. Because let's be honest real quick. Literally anybody can just basically have the curse mark on their neck and essentially be a Orochimaru snake ass person. Anybody can do that, right? And it doesn't really matter what the situation is. It is possible for anybody just to sit here and do. And the issue with the Cinder situation is that there's been multiple things within this whole convo and drama that has happened, that has been revealed, and basically kind of been confirmed, essentially, especially with her dropping her own document literally not too long ago. And when it comes down to it, it's just like, well, there's a few factors. One, she had her boyfriend or whatever kind of just also being in this nonsense too, which I'm gonna keep it very much as that. This is exactly the reason why I don't want the family or anybody else to come through telling me how to do anything, right? If I'm cooking, let me cook, right? It might not be anything that you agree with, but at the end of the day, as long as you all are still safe and everything is still fine, I could care less. Let me just cook the way I'm gonna cook. That's just how it is. I feel like anytime you let anybody that is family or, you know, like a relationship partner come through or whatever the hell you got, a random ass dog on the side of the street, they're gonna F it up for you. They're gonna F it up for you, and it's not gonna be a good ass time. It's why you need people that is basically level headed, but not anybody that you're attached to, right? There is no attachment. There is just business here. Because easily, the most amount of messes I've seen a lot of time has come from people that, oh, it's my friend, or I'm super close with this person, or things like that. If I'm going to have you handle my business stuff, you are my business partner. You're my business guy, right? Or my business girl. Doesn't matter. We keep things at a business-like level, and that's just ultimately how it is. If you want to be friends, I don't know if I want you handling my business stuff. I ain't gonna lie. At least for me, this is my current level of thinking, right? I haven't gotten to a point where I have money to blow and then just be able to build up different type of, you know, enterprises or incorporations or whatever the hell, because I don't know what that's like. But when it comes down to it though, I really wouldn't want to have, you know, family to come through, a family business or anything like that. That just kind of dead to me. I ain't gonna lie. Maybe in the future I'll change my mind, but for now, that just a no. Then to add insult to injury about this whole situation too, is the fact of the apology. I'm gonna be real. There has not been an instance in the entirety of the history of the internet where an apology has worked and actually saved your ass. There is possibly never going to be a time where that actually happened. Well, I won't say never going to be a time, because I didn't think wrestling fans could apologize to wrestlers at times, but they did that to John Cena last week, so apparently shit can happen, but I don't really see it happen that much often. I just don't, right? And it's kind of just like a situation where it's like, well, you're gonna get your ass beat. You're gonna get your ass beat, and that's just how it is. And if people still vibe with you afterward, it is what it is, because let's be real, people are still gonna vibe with Cinder. It is what it is. It doesn't really matter. People are gonna vibe with her still at the end of the day. She might take a little break or whatever, but people are gonna still vibe with her, because at the end of the day, is she really gonna just shuck away the last remaining people that's gonna, you know, vibe with her and stuff? Is she really just gonna let that sit here and just, you know, be the ultimate stumbling block that take her down? Not really. Let's be honest. It'll be, I really fully think, unless you did something completely, absolutely, ultimately unforgivable, I don't really see you just giving up everything, even with a block in a row like this. So Cinder's gonna be around. I don't really see how she wouldn't be. It just makes too much sense to me. The only difference is now she's basically shown her true colors to obviously a lot of people, and not a lot of people are gonna sit here and vibe with Cinder or want to work with her or things of sort like that. Especially with a lot of the stuff that has came out that sounds a little off and weird, like, you know, kind of manipulating Nano to kind of just be exclusive to her and whatever like that, which using the whole, you know, oh, but remember the old times, the olden times where you did this project for me and all this sort of stuff. That's still a manipulation tactic. Like, if I say, oh, damn, Kohai, remember the time where we talked about some crazy shit when it comes down to X character and try to get you to stay here with me and locked in my basement? That's a manipulation tactic. Too many movies, too many games, too many anime has pulled that same nonsense over and over again in different styles and different ways, it is still a tactic to kind of bring people in, to guilt trip them in some shape or form. That's just ultimately how it is. If anything, the best answer she could have gave with that whole situation is just say, "Nah, I'm good. You could do whatever you need to," you know, instead of trying to, I guess throw these like things out here like that. It's just a little weird, you know. That's just how it is. Also, the whole thing about devaluing a motto, I don't get that part. Like, I think it was like saying, oh, if Nano keeps making mottos or something like that, then, you know, they'll continue to do it, and, you know, the model of the work will be like de-appreciated over time or whatever. And I'm just like, is that true? I don't feel like that is. I feel like that's not really the truth here. Right? Sure, you could probably say a certain art style will do that, but I don't really think that's the case, because people need models. You're gonna always have somebody that's gonna find, you know, that want to do VTubing and want a model. Shit, at some point I would like to have one. I don't know when, but I would like to have one, and when I can actually, you know, do the damn thing. But that's gonna be that case down the line. But still, you're gonna always find somebody to come through. And I feel like if you're gonna put in the work, and if you want to just do it, I don't see the giant problem like that. Again, unless it's like a specific art style and you want to keep it rare, then that makes sense. But if it's not that, then what the hell do you mean? That just feels a bit weird. Again, that's like the one thing I would definitely say that confused me the most. Just overall, the way she handled this situation is definitely just wasn't going to be good either way. But also, it doesn't help when I believe the start of that damn document was also just already throwing around your whole manager or boyfriend or whatever under the damn bus, plus the other added part of like some other Google document, I don't even remember who it was, where she was basically, you know, kind of flirting with some other random chick or whatever, and, you know, right behind their boyfriend's back, which this just makes I ain't gonna lie, men are just suffering out here. We just suffering. I ain't gonna sit here and cap. This is the type of shit that just make people, when people ask, why don't guys just ask men out anymore? Cause of shit like this. Like shit like this. I'm gonna be absolutely honest. Like a lot of us, you know, there's a lot of people that can be assholes, but there is some of us that just like genuinely want to have a good time, you know, chill, not try to play all these games. Like as Joe said it best in I believe Rico the Giant's video when they was doing the whole, you know, fast food simulator. He was like, I don't need drama. I just need answers. Like that is exactly what it feels like at times, especially for me, because I'm just like, bro, you come here, you're in my damn life. I am trying to, you know, see what things are like, see how things are gonna go. If things go well, let's go ahead and start going out, get married at some point in time, and just call it a damn day. I'm not trying to be out here playing all these weird ass games, will they, won't they type nonsense. Nah, if you're gonna offer me the ass cheeks, offer me the ass cheeks. It is what it is. I'm not here to play around. Like we ain't got time for that. Let me focus on the shit I want to focus on, and see what we can get in the mix. But other than that, don't necessarily come through with all this nonsense, right? And really, relationship stuff is just weird, especially when it comes down to like the online space and stuff like that too, because people definitely do a lot of weird stuff. Right, and granted, this was a time before, you know, she blew up as Cinder and all that type of stuff, and I get that, right? I'm not saying that you're gonna have the foresight to know about all this shit, but at the very same time, this still is a whack ass tactic, right? Just to say a lot of that shit behind your man's back, right? Like, because if you don't want that, if you didn't want the guy, then don't be with the guy. Be with the random ass chick that you were trying to get with, or whoever. And then indulge yourself in that lesbian scissoring relationship that I know don't really satisfy to any of you when it comes down to it. It just is what it is. Calling me crazy with the observation skills, I might get canceled for saying this. If the lesbian smashing was so good, why do half of y'all need a damn dildo all the time? I'm just pointing it out. I'm just pointing it out. But there goes a bit of unhingedness for the day. Well, actually, I take that back, because I'm probably going to do something Kokatsu with Cinder's model in there, and probably do something wild too. I'm just kind of on that type of time right now. Especially when it comes down to just, again, the whole, you know, way she was kind of just yapping about this man, and especially in this damn document, throwing him under the bus. it just feels weird. It feels like the type of relationship you would see that's just the weirdest type of thing ever. Like, I don't know, she out here just willingly getting clapped up by somebody else, and it's a cucking relationship. That's what this shit feels like. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, right? That's exactly what this feels like. But when it comes down to the whole, again, Cinder situation, it's just, there is no good ending for her when it comes down to this, right? Though I think this is gonna be GG's for her, no. Because, again, like I said before, it'd be ridiculous for her to just give up completely and think this is it, this is where she gets cooked. I don't think so. I think things are going to continue as normal for her at some point in time, and people ain't going to forget the bullshit, but at the very same time, they're not necessarily going to sit here and just, give up everything they had or earned and all that type of stuff. They're not going to necessarily do here. They're not through. They're going to continue. And this is why I said what I said on Twitter about the whole situation, at least when it comes to me and pertains towards me, is that I'm just gonna be the most unapologetic, lewd, and crazy ass male VTuber that I possibly can be, right? Basically just kind of being myself, because at the end of the day, I feel like and this is why I've also kind of been seeing too when it comes down to the top people and people up there and all that type of stuff that has all this influence and power, I feel like you would be so much better if you just be yourself, right? That's genuinely what I'm getting from all this stuff. Everybody come through with the fake personalities or the fake smiles and stuff like that, which I never like doing that. If I don't like being in a room with somebody or being at some events or something like that, and I just don't like it, I'm gonna basically show you my mannerisms of just, hey, I'm not really caring for any of this right now. That's just ultimately how it is. I get it, social cues, but at the very same time, I don't care for social cues. If I don't like something, I'm not gonna like it. If I do like something, I do like it. That's just how it is. Never do I want to sit here and just stab somebody in the back by talking mad shit behind them or anything like that. If I do decide to do something like that, I'm gonna beat your ass with the damn WWE Championship belt like John Cena did to Cody in WrestleMania. I'm hitting you in the front. You're gonna get all the come in the face. That's just how it is. You're gonna see me coming. But because the point is, I just want to make sure you understand that I am in front of you, I am here, and I don't appreciate the shit that you are or the shit that you have done. And I'm gonna tell it to you directly instead of trying to hide behind some weird ass tactic, right? Unless it just calls for that, where I don't see a reason where that shit would be called for. But at the very same time, if it were to get called for that, then like, I guess. But still, I would rather have it in front of your effing face, look you in the eye, put you down on your knees, and start going ahead and just singing you some weird ass or Barney fairy tales. What does that even mean? I don't know. But then I'm gonna take that damn same book of the Barney fairy tales and slap you in the face with it. Because you're gonna see me do it. You're gonna see me go for it. I just rather be direct with you or direct with the person I don't like or whatever versus just not doing that. And then to kind of top off everything too, I'd never, ever want to sit here and try to, betray, I guess, like a friend or something like that in the most worst possible way, like this or something like that too, right? And I'll go ahead and give shout outs to a few people too, because I'll be real. If it wasn't for people like Alice, especially her, really too, and Krim as well from back then, and I still talk to Krim too at times. But when it comes down to it, if it wasn't for, Krim letting me know Alice existed, first of all, Alice coming through and, collaborating with me for the first collaboration of this channel, which still grateful for that. And if it wasn't for her literally sitting here making my own Kokatsu model, I wouldn't be this model that we have every now and again on this channel to be shown in some of these videos. Like, you wouldn't have that version of me. The profile picture would not exist if it wasn't for Alice coming through and creating that model. So I owe her a lot when it comes down to it. And that's just personally how it is. And if I were to grow big, and if I, were to actually be a success, I would love to come through and ask her, hey, do you need anything? I would like to help her out if possible, right? Because she's good. I haven't talked to Alice in a minute. To be honest, I haven't, which that's probably on me. But when it comes down to it, still, I do value her as a friend, and, a lot of the people that has helped out throughout the years of just doing content creation. I do value that, and I do cherish that tremendously. And I don't want to necessarily sit here and take all that trust and all that friendship and all that niceness and kindness, really, and then just pull some 180 shit and then just throw it back in everybody's faces for literally no reason. That just probably pissed me off more than anything in the world. I'm just being real. So when it comes down to it, all I can really say is, at least when it comes down to, you know, I guess the VTubing scene and just everything in general, is that definitely just be true to yourself. That's possibly the best thing that you can really do. Because ultimately, this would be not necessarily so bad for her if she just, you know, one, I'd argue pay attention to what the hell your boyfriend is doing and all that type of stuff. And if she already had known and she just hasn't said it, that makes her even worse, right? That's just how it is. Kakashi said it best. Those that are, you know, on some blah 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 is scum, but those betray their friends are even worse than scum. They're cum, and that's how it is. But yeah, that's, I guess, ultimately really I just wanted to say, you know, just again, be yourself. Be really who you're supposed to be, right? I'm pretty sure your people would value you for it. There's value in it to wear your heart on your sleeve a lot of the time, and there's just peakness there, right? There genuinely just is. There is nothing wrong with you being yourself, right? And if you need to work on yourself, always do self-reflections. I do it too. I do it a lot, actually, and that's kind of the reason why I'm kind of the way I am. And if I ever fall off on that path, and especially if people figure it out, or at least people see that it's happening, then definitely I want to course correct and try to get back onto that path as well, right? Because she's also said something about like losing her way and how she views the world. And to keep very much a stack, it's very easy to do that. That's something that's very easy to have happen to anybody. But also at the same time, you got to realize, all right, what am I fighting for? What is my goals? What is my dreams? What is something I still need to do, right? And there's plenty of things for me that makes me just want to continue fighting hard for this channel, fighting hard just in general to keep things going, because I genuinely love what I'm doing here, and this shit is the best shit I've ever done in my entire life. I'm not gonna lie, but that's just how it is. So ultimately, that's all I gotta really say for this one. I don't know if I made sense in this video at all, but take it as it is. And yeah, hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow my socials. Any of the links donated to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's been your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.